with Brian Thomas at Northern Guilford, the AD here, and again, he's going to be probably checking out for us in about a month, getting ready to retire here. But before he does, let's go back and talk about when he first came to Northern Guilford. How many years back? I know it's got to be at least 15 years. How many years back did we go?
13 years.
Right in
my
that
13th year. Yep.
Yeah.
Came in after all the silly stuff. And
yeah, because it was kind of crazy for a while, and some others were here. Then a new man came in from the east in the beginning. He was only here just a couple of months. He was gone, and you came in.
He was here 6 months, and then I got hired that spring and took over. I didn't start officially until August, but I was here during the late spring and early summer.
And you came in during kind of a transition period, and all of a sudden, one thing about it, the theme about your work is, so before I forget the theme I've got in my mind, I always thought with you working here, it was always the teams were never bigger than the school, which I thought was a good thing, because your teams were big, they had success, and they were known and talked about, but the teams were never bigger than the school here.
Well, one of the things when we came on board, what I noticed is that we were like, all of our teams were kind of little islands all over the place, and it took some time, but we got to the point where everybody is now on the same page and they're supporting one another, and that's the big thing. To be successful, your women's basketball team, and I distinctly remember this, is, when they were making their run, winning state championships and playing in the state championship, that first year they lost, the baseball team was there through the entire run, home games, away games, everything else.
Oh, yeah.
And when the baseball team was on their run under Landon Kimrey's was the head coach, the women's basketball team was there supporting them. So it's one of those things. What works here may not work in other places, and what works in other places may not work here. But we've hired good people. We've had great leadership from Will Lane to Dr. McKenzie to Mr. Gagliotti now is absolutely fantastic. So it was a good time. New leadership, and everybody doing their job is kind of how we want things to be. It's good. Yeah,
back in the early days, Will Lane, I remember Will was very supportive of the sports program.
Was
very supportive.
Huge.
And what you brought was stability. You brought a stableness. It became stable.
Well, I'd like to think that. I've always felt like that. My job is to stay behind the scenes. So this whole piece here is not comfortable for me. I don't like it. If you're seeing me out in the open, there's something going on. The coaches, the kids, they should be the forefront, and that's how I've always done things. I wanted to do everything to make it one less thing for the coaches to worry about, so they could concentrate on their coaching.
And the coaches did a good job of that. You're stepping
Absolutely.
down, but boy, the coaches, when you were here, they were really stepping up, because look at that football team, 4 state championships, I think, during your time here with Coach Roscoe. He left, and then I remember the day he came back, you called me on the phone and said, I got a guy he wants you to talk to. And there he was. Coach Roscoe came back and got another championship.
That was an amazing run. That was 6 years. Coach Roscoe won 2. We hired Robert Brian Thomas, who was a really good coach as well, phenomenal defensive-minded guy, and lost in the regional finals. 1 game away from state championship, and then Coach Roscoe came back and won 2 in a row again. That's year 4, 3, and 4, 4 and 5, but 4th state championship. And then his last year, he lost again in the regional finals. So in 6 years, the 2 games that they lost were regional finals, 1 game away from state championship, which is amazing. You just don't get a run like that. I mean, it's unless you're Reedsville or something like that.
Right,
yeah.
Right.
But the things that have happened here, it's an amazing place to work. It's a community school. The parents are fantastic. The kids, you can't ask for a better group of kids. They're supportive of one another. They like each other. We try to have as much fun as we can.
When you say Spencer Dixon Road, you know where you're going.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
As some people say, they're coming out to the boonies, but when they get here, they realize that the campus is really nice and the fields are in good shape, and the coaches are respectful, the kids are respectful.
Think about one game that stands up. There are a lot of games over the years. That one football game. For me, the one game was at Wake Forest against Charlotte Catholic. When T.J. Logan scores 8 touchdowns that game, I don't think I'll ever forget that game as long as I live.
That was an amazing experience to see that happen. What a good kid. What a great athlete. And that's when he won, T.J. won the Male Athlete of the Year that year. And I remember speaking, and I can't remember who it was I spoke with at the state, but they were asking about T.J. and what kind of person he was. And I said, well, the best thing I could say about T.J. was that he is as good of a person as he is an athlete. And I've always, his mom, God, she's a great lady. Great lady, yeah.
A lot of good memories.
Yep.
I tell you, TJ scored those 8 touchdowns and just tore it up. And that was a regional final against Elijah Hood and Charlotte Catholic, a very good team that you played.
That was actually state championship, not a regional final.
That was state championship game.
That was state championship.
Okay, yeah, Wake Forest, yeah.
He did that in a state championship game. And
That's
I think
amazing further, yeah.
Someone broke that record a couple years ago with as far as total yards, but it was in a like a regular season game. That shouldn't have taken place in a state championship. I mean, to be honest with you, just to be against a caliber team like Charlotte Catholic was.
I know.
He played outside his mind. He had a great game.
And
well, the whole team had a great game. Our defense that year just was amazing.
Yeah, the thing about it was like, I think it was a Saturday night at Wake Forest. You guys were playing Catholic, and just a heck of a game. And back in those days, kind of interesting, you had a kid named Daniel Downing. A lot of these kids I see, people say, what they remind of like being your son. I say, this guy's like a brother.
Yeah.
Daniel was like a brother to us.
Daniel was a machine. He is. I keep in touch with his dad. I hadn't talked to him in a while, but Daniel is now I'm not sure what his rank is, but he's in the military now, stationed at Fort Bragg, married, a couple kids, or had one child and had another one on the way, maybe have had it by now. But yeah, you can go with Rocco Scarfone. You can just talk about all these kids in the initial piece that we had here. I mean, DC Arendis played baseball here and basketball.
Certainly.
I mean, it's amazing the talent and the quality of individuals that have come through this place.
What I liked about calling those football games and announcing those games back in the day too was you had a quarterback. He was a defensive back on a championship team or two. Then he was a quarterback on the team. That was Austin Cochran.
Yes, sir. Another good player. He was a phenomenal baseball player. Ended up focusing solely on football and was just knew the game. Could handle the stress and the pressure. I mean, I'll get away from. We had good kids, but we had a good coaching staff too. There's no question.
Yeah, a little known fact about Austin Cochran. He's actually my third cousin.
Really?
His father, Bobby, my second. His grandfather, Jack, has been passed away for years. Was my first cousin. Bobby and I are second cousins, same age, but Austin's a cousin, part of the family. And I used to come call those games. Didn't talk about it much, but that was the deal.
Hadn't seen Bobby in a long time, but he was a really good guy to me. Really good guy to me.
Good family.
Yeah, great family. Yep.
And that women's basketball run too was outstanding because 3 girls that come to my mind: Lisa Canane, Cassie Roby-Cabbage, and Mercedes Wampler, just 3 of the great ones you had. It was just so good. I was just thinking the other day about what would have been crazy. It's just good it worked out the way it did, that Northern Guilford and Northwest were not in the same conference back in those days.
That was amazing because they had the exact same run we did. Yeah. They lost the first year in the state championship and then won two in a row, just like we did. They won the 4A and we were obviously in the 3 at that point in time. But again, that goes back to the character of individuals. Those 3 young ladies are as good as anybody you're ever going to meet. And again, great students and then phenomenal athletes on top of that. So,
you look at the baseball team. I think it was 2017 when you went down to, went down to Zebulon on that Saturday and the Friday and won those games against Crest. And Crest was tougher than baseball people thought.
Yes, they were really good that year. And if we were playing in that big stadium and that last out they hit, if it would have been in a normal park, I cannot remember who was playing center field, but he ran that ball down and caught it, and that was the 3rd out. If that would have been in a normal high school park, it probably would have been gone. I mean, that's just you got to have a little bit of luck to win it.
Out, yeah.
You got to have a little bit of luck to win it. And that's and out of the we've won 9 in team state championships in 13 years. They're all tough to win. There's a lot of schools around that haven't even sniffed at winning a state championship in any sport over however long the school's been around. Baseball's the toughest, I think, and I'm a former baseball player. I played a little bit of college baseball. It's the toughest to win. You get a stud on the mound that's throwing 95, and they're a lower seed than you are, and you have a bad game, you're out of the playoffs. You don't get that best of series and that 3-game series until the regionals and finals. Landon did a great job, and then turned right back around, and Coach Poe is now running the program, and they're young and they're working at it, and they're going to get better. So
look at that pitching staff back in that day. You had guys like Cameron Cotter, Josh Pike, and J.C. Oots. Those guys were just tough on that mound.
Oots was playing center field, if I'm not mistaken.
He was playing that game defensively.
I think he was in center field, if I remember correctly.
John Clark Oots.
Yep. I see his parents every now and then. Good people. Good kid.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Yeah. We've been fortunate. We've won 4 football. We've won 2 women's basketball. We've won a baseball. We've won a wrestling. We've won an outdoor track as well. It's a community. It's the parents. It's the kids. It's everybody that have pitched in and made this place special to what it is.
That's it,
And
baseball.
the best thing I can say I did is I stayed the heck out of the way and let the machine run the best
Yeah,
I
like you
could.
say, all the time you were here, the teams never got bigger than the school, though. You think about that baseball team again. JT Jarrett's dad was at UNCG at the time. You had Milwee, you had Logan King behind
Yep.
the plate, just a tough bunch of kids.
And they were all good kids. I mean, that's the thing. Every one of them, you don't forget people, but you sometimes in the 13 years you forget what kids are and their names and stuff like that, but you don't forget their faces and you
Right.
don't forget their accomplishments that they've done. This is a special place.
Just a quick question for you. When you had the state championship in track, was T.J. Logan on that team?
Yes, he was.
Thought he might help because that guy was fast.
He was
the guy was
fast.
fast.
If
100
you-
meters, 200 meters, I don't know who could catch that guy.
He won the 200 his junior year, and then his senior year, quick fact about that, he ran the 100 and the 200 without blocks. He took off in a 4-point stance and was about maybe a half a step behind in the start, and he just walked everybody else down. Yep.
And he would be great on a relay team, too, I would think.
They won the relay that year. Again, it's one of those things, I can't remember everything they won, but they did really well. And we've had men's and women's track have won regional championships before, both men's and women's. I mean, softball has finished second in the state. Women's golf has finished second in the state several years ago. Like, I don't remember the numbers, like 3 years in a row behind, I think, Rockingham County, if I remember correctly. Ted Bonham was the golf coach as well. It's one of those things. I don't want to go out like this, but at the same time, I think it's a good time. Kim Furlow, one of my real good friends, she's hung it up and as well deserved. She's put her time in. So, and we got a good group of people still here working to make this place even better.
Back on TJ real quick, and everything about TJ Logan real quick, but if he's your anchor man on that relay team, I'm feeling pretty good if he's the anchor guy.
He's fast. And that was the question. Somebody asked us how fast TJ was, and we always said TJ as fast as he needs to be.
Whatever it takes.
Yep.
And that softball team again was kind of special with Coach Terrell, and I think it was a Lambeth kid on that team with the players back then. That kid was a special kid.
She was amazing. Actually, her dad, Bias, just dropped off some fertilizer for me to start fertilizing fields here in a little bit. So yeah, they had a great run at it. Yep.
Remember they lost, I think, over at UNCG, and they played some team from out of town. Maybe Inca, somebody like that.
It was the Inca. Yep.
That was a tough baseball bunch, that Inca bunch. Yeah.
But the opportunity to play there.
Oh yeah.
Was amazing. Yeah.
Just be there on a Saturday. Going to be hot in the month of June, but you're playing where you want to be.
Play everything late. That's right.
Yeah. Well, talk about this. Brian Thomas, leaving out as the AD at Northern Guilford. What are some of the things you take? What are your takeaways from here?
Oh Lord, the friendships that'll never go away. People that are still here, obviously. I feel like it's part of my family. It always will be. My son graduated from here. I'm not going to get emotional, so don't make me get emotional here now.
Now, he played some sports too, didn't he?
He was a runner.
Yeah.
He was a really good distance runner. He was regional champion with the 4x8. He was, phenomenal little runner athlete. Would have been a better wrestler, I think, but he liked running.
Yeah.
Takeaways, just the amount of time I put in this place, the blood, sweat, and tears. To me, it's one of the few community schools still around because everything revolves around this school and this community, from the youth football to the youth travel softball and travel baseballs. All those kids that played on all those teams were all living in this attendance zone, so that when they went through, they would have gone to the elementary school, the middle school, and the high school. So that's one of the things I'm probably more proud of than anything is we've kept this community somewhat together. Yeah.
See, one thing, when you leave that basketball team in Coach Josh's hands after Coach Furlow stepped down, with Jasmine Harris coming back, plus Lena coming in, that team is still going to be in pretty good shape.
They're not bad. They're going to continue this pretty much. I'm assuming the style of play they've had. We don't have any, we don't have an Alyssa Kunane running around right now, so we don't have the height. But every one of those girls, even the starters coming off the bench, they can shoot the lights out. I mean, they're just good players. Very aggressive, hard-nosed defense, man-to-man, steal the ball. Anyone can bring it down the court. Who you're going to guard as the point guard when all 5 of them can bring it down the court.
Yeah, and that little DeLisa girl, Marlena DeLisa, will be as good as Christina before she's done.
Yep, and that's a great family, by the way. The DeLisa's here. They've done so much for me. I can't even describe. I can't even tell you the stuff that they've done to help us out here at the school. It's a great family, great family.
Good people to get mentioned in for. And you're going to leave it in good hands. I think it's a Ohio Bobcat going to be taking over for you here.
Chase knows what he's doing. The benefit to me in this position with Chase taking over, he knows what's going on. He's been here. I like the fact that if he needs to, he can just pick up the phone and call me. We've got that kind of relationship, and any of the people here in the school, if they call me and ask me for help, they're going to get my assistance. We'll walk them through the process of what we can do. Again, knowledgeable, work ethic is there. And again, some of the things I do here may not work at other places, but it's worked here, I think.
And I think with Chase coming in, he's a proven winner too, because he was a winner at Northern Guilford Middle School coaching that football team. Led those guys to an unbeaten record a couple years ago and came over. He's coached here, at least as assistant twice, and now he's ready to take this new job.
Yep, he's gonna be just fine. I've told him already. He's gonna hear things like, we didn't do this last year, we didn't do it this way last year, but it doesn't matter anymore because it's his ship to run, and I'm gonna be here to support him.
Now, 13 years and so much has happened. How did you pack all that into 13 years? Some people can't get that done in 30, 35 years.
Well, we've been fortunate. When you've got good kids and you have an administration like we've had here through the entire 13 years, from the Will Lanes to the Janice McKenzie now to Mr. Louis Cagliotti, and they expect academic excellence as well as athletic excellence. So when you set that tone, you're going to hire good people to fill those head roles, and the kids buy into what you're coaching and what you're teaching, you're going to be just fine. You're going to win a lot of games, and we won a lot of games.
And when you were working as the AD, I guess with some of the head coaches of varsity sports, and their season was over, sometimes they would step up and I guess help out during their off season.
And that's kind of, I mentioned that about our we were on little islands, and then bringing everybody in together to help with that. Coaches are supporting each other, supporting other teams. Heck, Brad Poe is probably here just as much as I am. He's at every football game. He's at most of the basketball games, if not all of them. Coach Furlow was here helping out all the time, doing her thing. Andrew Holtberg, former soccer coach, assistant AD, covered a lot of stuff. It just goes on and on. They're just near and dear to my heart.
You walk out here at the end of July, last day of this month, July, you're done.
Sir.
Brian Thomas, BT, is moving on. What do you do next?
We're gonna look around and try to find another job. I have some personal health things that I'm trying to get through right now, but I'm strong. I'm feeling good, and it's unknown. It's scary. It's really scary, but we'll see. We'll find something to do. I mean, I'll go stir crazy not doing anything,
right.
So I've got to find something.
I think the best thing about it all, you take away so many memories. I mean, when you leave here, it's not like you've got so many memories here. You can live off those for a long time too.
I mean, we go back days. I go back to Lee County High School, Lee Senior High School. I got great memories there, but this place is home. Will Lane took a chance when he hired me. I wasn't I had never been an athletic director before, but a lot of the things I had done in my life kind of prepared me. I was working with different entities. In essence, I worked with Fort Bragg. I worked with USA Cycling, doing a lot of personal things, which is very similar to the High School Athletic Association. And I do things right. I do things the right way. Try to anyway. I mean, that's all you can ask for. So it's been a great run. It's been a great run.
It may be, though, you may not miss that press box late August on a Friday night. Maybe not, because it gets kind of warm in there.
The old shipping container, yeah, it gets a little warmer in there. We've tried a couple different things and put air conditioner stuff in there, and that sun just beats in the front end of it, and you can't cool it off no matter what we do. So it makes you appreciate the cool nights.
It does. And
yeah.
when you know you're coming, you know what to expect.
Yeah,
that's the thing about when you were working here. People, when they came here, they knew what to expect when they came here.
Well,
You laid it out, and it stayed the same. It was consistent, and it was stable.
Coming from you guys on the press side of it, that does mean a lot, because I want and I'm hoping that the officials that we've dealt with and the umpires have felt the same way. It's a game. It's a high school game. It's not life or death. But the important thing is allow these kids and parents to build the memories like you're talking about. So.
One of my new sayings lately has been, it's not whether you win or lose, it's the fact that you're playing the game. Just being able to play the game is a good thing.
It goes back to, I say this, I got to a point where I was a broken record doing all my fall, winter, and spring coaches meetings, and one of the things I always said was that everybody has a shelf life. Everybody's going your playing career is going to end at some point, whether it's you make it to the pros or you're fortunate enough to make it to college. Most of us end in high school. I was fortunate enough to walk on and make a couple years of baseball, but didn't play. But enjoy the moment, enjoy your time. That's all. That's it. Granted, some kids play more than others, and that's just the nature of the game. But enjoy it. Enjoy your friends. Enjoy your kinship, your coaches. Enjoy it.
But when you leave, you'll come back to some games here, I'm sure.
I don't see how I could not come back. I would probably, my name would be Mud for one, and I would go crazy. Yeah.
Just want to thank you for the time. You've done well here today in this conversation. The years you put in, 13 years, since you've been here 30, because you've done so much.
Well, again, it's a good community, and we've had a lot of help doing it from the coaches, from the athletes, the administration. I mean, it's not one person, and these are the things that I don't dislike doing these things, but it feels like we're talking about myself, and it's not. It's the community, it's the school, it's the coaches, the kids, and again, the administration.
As to close, I would just say I always remember Spencer Dixon Road as Northern Guilford High School, and from what you did, the job you did going through over the years, the athletic programs never got bigger than the school. The school was number one. You kept it at the top.
Thank you, Andy. I appreciate it.